Summer in Las Vegas is a long, brutally hot season, as we all know. But there are a lot of really great landscape plants that'll be blooming all summer long. It's also a great time of year for hummingbirds and butterflies. In fact, in the garden here, we've got a hummingbird bush called the anisacanthus that attracts hummingbirds really well. We also have a lot of flowering plants like lantanas and tacomas that attract the butterflies. So this is a great time of year to actually get out into your yard, see all the summer flowers when it's the cooler time of the morning or cooler evening time, and see all the butterflies and hummingbirds. There are water restrictions in the summer, but due to the heat, you can water 6 days a week. You're only not allowed to water on Sundays. And Sundays, reprieve from watering is a good idea for your water bill as well as your landscape. Another thing to keep in mind is you're not allowed to water between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. the hottest part of the day. You want to be watering in the cooler mornings and in the cooler evenings when there's less evaporation. And one final thing to keep in mind in summer is we can occasionally get monsoon thunderstorms that come through our area. So on days when it's raining out, it's a good idea to shut your irrigation off or even to upgrade to a smart controller that'll make that decision for you. In the middle of summer, you don't want to do a lot of pruning on your plants. You can do light pruning to shape up trees and shrubs, and you can also do deadheading to get rid of flowers that have spent. Another thing to keep in mind is trees will oftentimes have their branches weighed down because of the heavy new growth on them, whether it's new leaves, fruits, that sort of thing. It's okay to prune those branches off and make your area safe again, but it's a really bad idea to do heavy pruning, which can kill and do a lot of harm to your plants. Because it's a warm time of year, we like to be thinking about things that can reduce your water use, and one of the great ways we do at the Springs Preserve is we use a lot of mulches. Some of the mulches we use are organic mulches, like I'm showing here. These are organic mulches made from natural products. The one on the right is a dark brown mulch that's been dyed, and you can buy that at the nursery to make it really attractive underneath your plants, under your trees and shrubs. The other mulch here is actually chipped up trimmings from the garden. We chip those up ourselves so we can use all of the plant debris that we would have normally thrown in the landfill and use that as our mulch. You can do that at home too. Anytime you're pruning your trees and shrubs, if you have a nice organic mulch underneath them, you can chop them up with your pruners and let it sit under your plants. The organic mulches are great because underneath that organic mulch, it's actually conditioning the soil, and it's also feeding those plants as the mulch breaks down. All you really need to do is refresh that mulch every few years to keep that supply of nutrients coming. In Las Vegas, a lot of yards are covered with rock mulch and even landscape fabric. Rock mulch does a great job of preventing water from evaporating, but the landscape fabric and the rock mulch together can actually form a great spot for weeds to germinate. After a few years, a lot of dirt and debris will build up on top of that landscape fabric, and you'll end up with a great spot for seeds to germinate. The other thing is rock mulch can retain a lot of heat and be quite hot. The landscape fabric can also suffocate roots underneath it. So I suggest to people it's a really good idea to pull back the landscape fabric, pull back that rock mulch underneath their trees and shrubs, and put down an organic mulch. Your trees will be happier and healthier, and the soil will be cooler as a result. Another thing to keep in mind is that compost makes a really good food for plants, but it should not be used as a mulch around your trees and shrubs. Compost has really small particles and it tends to wick the water up, which just means it doesn't protect the winds from drying out the soil. What you really need in compost is nice big chunky material that traps air and creates a protective layer. You can use your compost, dig it in around your plants, but don't use compost as a mulch. Finally, in summer, it's good to keep in mind you shouldn't be buying new plants and planting material in your landscape. If you happen to have a plant, it's okay to plant it. It's a lot easier to take care of a plant that's in the ground than it is in a container through the long, hot summer season. But that being said, don't be shopping and buying new plants. Wait until fall. Fall is a much better time to be planting. One of the great tips for summer is you can be looking through online catalogs and buying spring bulbs right now. As a matter of fact, your spring bulb catalogs are selling a lot of things like daffodils and narcissus, those small species tulips and grape hyacinths that do really well here in Las Vegas, and you want to get your selection before they sell out of their bulbs. If you buy them now, they'll ship them to you in the fall and you can plant them at that time. So summer is a great time to be planting your fall garden.